Are you excited for the new DCU?
More intrigued than excited
What's intriguing for you?
because I do like James Gunn's work, right? And I
Mhm.
am starting to feel a little bit of the superhero,
Fatigue?
fatigue, only because like I don't get as or oh wowed as
Right,
much. Every now and then I do get something of hype, so I don't want to go into this too hyped,
right.
but so I am curious to see how James Gunn will handle the project.
Well, the DCU will officially start with Superman that debuts nationwide July 11th, 2025. We have some lead ups. We have Creature Commandos, which James Gunn also wrote.
Hmm.
We also had the Suicide Squad, which he wrote when he was on hiatus with Marvel. And he did also Peacemaker, which he also was in hiatus. And some of those characters are going to fall into the DCU, also with the Blue Beetle.
Hmm.
Those felt also part of the DCEU. Well, Aquaman was the last one, but the Blue Beetle was like the bridge between the two universes, if you will.
Yeah, because technically, Blue Beetle could stand on his own. Like you don't really see the interaction of the other characters
Right.
in the Blue
They
Beetle.
they mentioned the characters, but they don't, yes, you don't see them.
Yeah,
And Peacemaker, you do see them at the end of season one.
although it's just the shadows.
Not all of them.
Yeah, that's true. And
And Flash.
it could be argued that Flashpoint is technically the start.
Yes and no.
It becomes
Yes and no.
debatable if we see George Clooney as Batman.
Right. Right. But one of the influences for the new Superman movie, according to James Gunn, is All Star Superman. It's based off a book from Grant Morrison. It was made into an animated feature. We just watched the animated feature. I've read the book. It has been a while. I'm going to read the book again before the movie comes out because from what I've seen in the previews, and I try to avoid them, and what I saw in the animated feature, I don't know where it ties in together. So I'm a little confused. Maybe there may be a few here and there, but at the most part, I don't see it. Currently on Rotten Tomatoes, or still on Rotten Tomatoes, All Star Superman is scored at 80% by the critics and 62% by the audience. Up, and away. Welcome back to A Tesla Two Bros. My name is Angel,
I'm a Don.
where we give you a review at least once a week. Spoiler alert. This movie is 115 minutes long. It could have been longer. This
Yes.
animated feature could have been longer because watching it, I was so confused in the sense it jumped around so much.
Well, it's rushed, and
That's what it felt like.
and I do have the book, but I haven't read it in a long time either. But basically, it's telling like the last few months, if not year, he has.
Right.
It's not a matter of days. We're talking about there's time in between that's just skipping between.
Right. There's no time stamp
Hmm.
during the movie at all, so you don't know what's going on. Sometimes you know by people talking, they say it's like 2 months or whatever. But at the same
Context.
token, yeah, it's like it's lost. Now, it's directed by Sam Liu. He also did Batman Soul the Dragon. We like that.
He's done a lot of projects for DC.
Yes, he did. But this was, I'm sorry, this was not as good as the book. The book, is it a Pulitzer? No, it's not a Pulitzer Prize. It won major awards.
Yeah, I
In
don't
the,
remember which awards they were, but it did win major awards. It's one of those comics that's like world renowned for one of the best Superman stories there is.
right. Right. And for me, it's more of a Elseworld story
Well, yeah,
because at the end, spoiler alert, like I said earlier, he dies at the end. Even though he says like he's rebuilding the sun or repairing the sun, he
yeah.
pretty much died. Like he gave his energy towards the sun.
I'm not
But he,
100% sure, but I think that there was a theory that he did that and became like Superman 1 million because remember they had that the storylines of like the superheroes of the far in the future, and there was like Superman 1 million, Batman 1 million,
mhm,
and that was like
right,
the
also
year.
Robin too.
Yeah.
But
So
there's also the one where like Superman is like has all this electric energy, blue and red, something like that.
oh, that was
But
his
that
new powers. But then there was
but that's
also the
not
one
related
where
to.
there was a storyline where he becomes like a gold, he gold
Yeah,
Superman.
I mean, but this is an Elseworld story,
Yeah.
right? Isn't it? Yes,
Well,
Elseworld
the red
story.
and blue is canon.
No, that I know, but that happened way before All Star Superman.
True. Granted, they DC rebooted the universe like 3 times after the red and blue.
Well, to me, this felt like a mess. It started off well. It was very comic book accurate in the beginning
Mhm.
with the ship in space and the alien, the clone.
One of the crewmates.
Yeah, the crewmates, the clone. He morphs into a beast, and Lex is talking through him and taking control and trying to destroy that. And then you have the Kryptonians popping up and then leaving. What's beautiful about it in a book or a limited series book is that you can indulge into explaining stuff. And a movie, especially a movie that's only a minute, not a minute, an hour and 15 long, you got to decipher which angle you really want to go with. And it felt like it was different angles here, left and right, not really concrete. Only thing that was concrete was he was dying.
Yeah.
That he went to the sun, and he got overpowered by the sun, and is like is eating himself inside out.
So the only thing I could say, like, I agree with the constant is the fact that he is now dying and so forth like that. The other part is actually comes from the scene with Samson and Atlas. They tell him his future. This is the time where you're going to perform several challenges or feats, argued to be the greatest of your history. Or of any hero, something like that. Granted, it was like roughly midway through, but it kind of set the bar for like each chapter as we were watching is basically a new feat, at least in my
Yeah,
interpretation.
but was there many feats? You have Parasite, but that wasn't really anything. Then you have the Kryptonians that come in who got poisoned by their own, by kryptonite
Mhm.
because they were traveling the same pattern.
So found a home planet for the people of Kandor.
Uh-huh.
He answered the unanswerable riddle.
That's right when Samson or Atlas show them the
True, but it still
the
doesn't change.
newspaper.
It still doesn't change the fact that these are the feats that happened while he was dying.
Okay.
Lex getting the powers, and then in actuality, Lex turning a leaf. Solaris, in regards to it, the Kryptonians he sent to the Phantom Zone, and the whole turning of Lex led to the future Superman, because he's like, I see my ancestors from the future, and Lois is like, that looks like
Yeah.
my father.
Right.
So it
But
actually
they show no
shows.
right, but they show no there was no intimate moment with him and Lois because he said biologically we're not a match.
Yes, but it's because of Lex that has been fixed.
Oh, that's right, because he said to find out he made a
It's like
the
is his
DNA
way
switch
to
that
make
is
amends.
right, that book at the
Yeah.
end. That's
Mhm.
right. I totally forgot about that. Right. For me, it didn't have a flow, or maybe a flow that didn't match my liking.
Okay.
Did you appreciate it? Did you like it?
It's an enjoyable film. I would say that. I would say it's not my top 5. But I would
Okay.
say for the story, the overall story, it's good.
I found the book better.
But that's usually the case. Like, we've argued that before.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
like the books are usually better. They're more fleshed out, more detailed. Like, I love absolutely Flashpoint Paradox animated for the people watching.
Not the live action. Right.
Animated.
Right. Well,
And
no, but what kills me is
but what I'm getting at is that the animated one is very different from the book. It's the closest we're probably ever going to get, but it's very different from the book. But it's that difference. Sometimes it works. Not everything translates well from literature to the screen. In the book, Batman, spoilers, in the book, Batman kills Reverse Flash with the sword, and in the movie he does it with a bullet. That's a small difference, but it's actually a really cool difference when you get to the Suicide Squad Highway to Hell. So it all makes it connected. The animated universe is really good at tying in their other films and other projects that they have going on. In this particular movie, though, it is a DC Elseworld, so it is not considered needed to be in the cohesive. So they do make changes to make it fit that time frame and make it more relevant or more cohesive for film, but it's not needed to be watched to fit in with the other DC animated movies.
what's crazy about, like, for me, well, in general, like, if you're going to do an adaptation, an animated adaptation to a comic book, it should not be that hard because
You have the storyboard.
yes, they do storyboards for live action and for animation movies. So why are you trying to do something else when you have the storyboard in front of you done perfectly? I know, like, some directors or writers, they want to put their own pizzazz to it. They want to put their own panache to their work to make it stand out, or to have it call it their own, if you will. But I mean, like, don't break it if it's not, no, don't fix it if it's not broken. Excuse me. It's so annoying.
There is something to say about, like, getting it almost 100% accurate to the source material. Sometimes it's really good. I can't think of one right now that is like really bad because they stuck
Hmm.
that hard to the source material.
Was there a moment you liked?
I enjoyed the moments with Lex Luthor.
Okay.
Whole sequence with Parasite that like I didn't like the way Parasite was done. That's not my favorite iteration.
Right.
But the interaction of Luthor, his ego blinding him to what is in front of him. And it's
Hmm.
like there's multiple times where like Superman's just pretty much giving away his identity in front of Lex.
Right.
And he's just like oblivious to it because his ego, literally his ego,
Yeah.
is a shield across his eyes. Um
Hmm.
and you could tell like he does everything out of pride, ego, and his self-esteem is so hurt.
Well, he's narcissistic.
Extremely. It's
Mhm.
also interesting that every single criminal in that prison has it out for Lex Luthor.
Right.
Literally, they're in the prison cafeteria and all of them are like locked in. Oh, that's Lex Luthor.
Hmm.
It
Right.
just shows how evil the man is. And as soon as I said that, my mind went to Justice League when Lex Luthor swapped bodies with the Flash. The Flash is in the bathroom as Lex Luthor, and
Hmm.
one of the villains is like, "Aren't you gonna wash your hands?" He's like, "No, because I'm evil." And then he walks out.
Is that the Bruce Timm Justice League?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
the old school Justice League. I was
Now,
like, that's a fantastic episode.
the way the Parasite was drawn and stuff like that, because that's what I'll commend DC Studios for animation.
Mhm.
They draw the story as close as possible to the original source. That they do well.
Okay,
So the Parasite and how Clark and Lex and everyone was drawn is pretty much how it is in the book. Now the book is a little more even rough. They cleaned it up
yeah,
because it's not beautiful, borderline sloppy in the way the characters are drawn, in my opinion.
yeah. It's all a matter of a
They're
taste
drawn
at that point.
right. For me, I like that part with Parasite. I don't understand him getting stronger, bigger just by sensing Clark or Superman. Like he just start growing as if he already absorbed him,
So
unless it's absorbing from the air.
yeah, well, that's the
But
thing. Like he's absorbed. Superman absorbs so much energy. He's just like radiating energy. So
okay, so radiation. Okay.
yeah, and then like they even explain like Parasite doesn't need to have full on contact. Like he's can absorb all sorts of energy, even kinetic energy, which is like just energy of movement. And that's how he wasn't getting pierced by the bullets. He was, which I did think it was weird. They subdue the parasite, and Lex just keeps punching him. And like, does he consciously have to absorb it?
Well, he was kicking him. I don't know if
And
you saw that.
he
He
shot
was
him,
kicking it.
kick
I
him,
know.
and punched him.
When Clark was coming down towards Lex as
Yeah,
Lex was beating him up, Parasite, he's kicking the head, and you see the head
cave
caving
in.
more and more with each blow. I was like, damn, that's kind of violent on an animated series that's pretty much
I,
for kids,
I'm pretty sure
but still,
Parasite killed the prisoners that Superman froze too.
yes, he ran right through them.
Was wild to me because I'm like, Superman usually tries to save everybody, but he just pretty much said like a wall of prisoners.
And yeah, you see Parasite running right through them. And I was like, wait a
And
minute, what?
I saw one in the animation look like he got shattered. I'm just saying.
No, I'm just saying, yeah, he went through them and they broke. But I did like that scene. I mean, overall, in the sense of you have Lex with his ego and you have Clark trying to hide his identity, but
Mhm.
sneaking some things in, like creating that cave in, tripping over a rock, tripping over the wire because he fakes that tripping over the wire to unplug it
To save
because
Lex.
right, but because that gun that Lex is using, what's beautiful about that part, in my opinion, it honors Donner's and Christopher Reeve's Superman.
Yeah, because he'll do subtle things even as Clark Kent.
Right, but also the clothing is too big, the
Mhm.
hair is a mess. Well, in the 1978 version, the hair is neat, but the clothes are too big. He has to slouch. He talks in a different manner and pitch. He makes himself look like the fool. And we'll talk about that in our review of the 1978 Superman, which I think is short of a masterpiece. It is right up there with Star Wars with the special effects and storytelling and editing. But we'll get there when we get there. But that's what I liked about that scene. You see so many things happening in that one scenario.
Yeah.
My weakest is the Kryptonians.
Oh, the astronauts, the Kryptonian astronauts.
Yeah, because it's like quick. He returns, taking Candor to a habitable place where they can thrive.
Yep.
And then he comes back, and Metropolis has already changed. He's like, "What the hell is happening here?" And then he meets his fellow Kryptonians, and like 2 seconds later, they're done. They're dying because of the kryptonite poisoning, and he puts them to the Phantom Zone to save them. Okay, and I like the Phantom Zone too in that interpretation because it kind of reminded me again of the 1978 Superman, where Zod and the crew is attached to the glass, and you see the people here. They're pressing against the glass, screaming for help or escape, whatever. But these Kryptonians, once they go into Phantom Zone, they're cured and they're happy.
Yeah.
Even though they ruled or were ruling Metropolis and soon the world with a hard fist, they loved each other.
Oh yeah.
Them being together was more important than ruling Metropolis and ruling the world.
So here's my thing. I was wondering if they were really being that bad for the world. Yeah, they were conquering stuff, but Jimmy Olsen was wearing their style. They didn't really focus on like what was happening to the people other than they changed the structures of some of the buildings and they took over Superman's house.
Right, and destroyed his statue of the yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they're making everything their own. They're just taking over. Pretty much what like again, narcissistic. They found this new
Mhm.
strength. They were not as Clark raised up with people or introduced with by people how to act or how to assimilate in a new world. They said, I got these powers. Well, let's take over.
Yeah.
Let's live the life. No, and you talk about Jimmy wearing that outfit. Well, and I guess in this world, Jimmy is trans. The first time we see Jimmy, he's wearing a dress and wig. Homeboy questions him, said, "Why are you wearing a dress?" It's like, "Are you on assignment?" He goes, "No."
I forgot about that.
And
Yeah.
yeah, so it's like, so I guess this Jimmy, well, nothing wrong with that,
Yeah.
but this Jimmy is a cross dresser or overly
He
trans or whatever you want to call it.
maybe like he could be like on the cusp of whatever fashion trends there are.
That could be true.
Because
Maybe that.
Metropolis in the comics has always been like the polar opposite of Gotham. And like
Right.
and where you'll see like the potential of like people doing outlandish outfits for style probably would be in Metropolis.
Okay.
I could see that.
Hey, that's how you want to live. That's how you want to live. That's fine.
Yeah.
What about you? Do you have a weak moment?
The first time I watched it, it wasn't an issue. When I watched
Mhm.
it this time, I had an issue with the whole Lois becoming paranoid. I get it, don't get me
Mhm.
wrong, but the whole paranoia sewing machine, the transition of the dialogue in her head.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. Is in the beginning. Well, the thing is, she sees her picture and all that stuff. She doesn't know Superman except for some interviews, and so and she's at his house. So, in a sense, like you go to someone's house that you have a crush on, and you see things that don't match in your own head of what you think would be or your persona of the person, right? So you see a picture of her, you see a body double, if you will,
Mhm.
and you don't know that they're using the symmetry of that model to build the spacesuit or the Kryptonian outfit for her. That it could look like they're making a clone of her. I can understand that. I can understand where she's coming from in that way
Mhm.
because I would freak out too if I see my face and I see a body that resembles me, and then no, oh no, it's like no, no, no.
And
Or
then
Superman is that freaky? Oh boy.
well, here's the other thing that like I figured it out after the fact, but like while I was watching it, I didn't realize he got supercharged, but
Mhm.
then slowly he was actually losing power. He didn't
Yeah.
remain super strong. Like
No,
he
no.
was losing his strength. No, what I mean is like so like when he says I'm gonna take my people to Kandor, like to another planet, normally it would
Mhm.
take me like 2 weeks. I don't know if I'll
Mm.
be back. That
More
was
like 2 months.
yeah, and then he comes back and fights the two astronauts.
Mhm.
It didn't dawn on me right away. I'm like, dude, why are you so weak? Like, you just took out Samson and Atlas in an arm wrestling match. But
Well,
then
that was
again,
different.
that was different because again, that has to do with time frame, the time jump, the no keeping up with the whole explanation of how his condition is progressing.
Mhm,
So
mhm.
I had to put the pieces together. I missed it, and then I realized it. I'm like, oh, once I realized it, it was okay. But in the moment, that was a weak moment for me.
Right, like, and where did he take Kandor? Did he take it to more of it where the red sun is?
No idea.
Or is it still in the atmosphere or the not the atmosphere, in the universe of where the yellow sun is? So,
I
yeah,
want to say in the comic, even
like
the
our
Kandorians
galaxy.
couldn't figure out how to cure him. I think he even went there to Kandor to try and
Right.
get a cure, and they couldn't do it.
So, I mean, that's why I felt like, this movie could have been a lot longer. It could have been a 90-minute movie, even an hour and 45. You could have. I would have mind that. I would have mind that little extra explanation, a little more in the detail.
Yeah.
I would appreciate that. But again, an hour and 15 to tell like a, you know how many issues there are?
Off the top of my head, no, I don't. I'm gonna agree with like hour 16. That's fine. It's, I wouldn't shave anything more off of this. If anything, it could have used like a couple more minutes
Mhm.
just to flesh out one or two things. 2 hours, I would say that's too much.
Right. 12 issues. Yeah, come on. 12 issues? Come on. That is way too much. Way too much to put into. I mean, that's a lot of information to put in an hour and 15 minutes.
Mm.
Now, to go back to Rotten Tomato, and mind you, there's only 5 critics that reviewed it. It's 80%. Over 1,000 audience scored it at 62%. Where do you see it at?
This is gonna sound pretty critical. 75.
No, that's pretty good. It's better than 62. The
Yeah,
audience,
because I would say
you know,
it's as an overall Superman story telling the arc and how Superman is, I think it's good.
mhm.
It captures the character of Superman very well, in my opinion. Because
Yes,
there's a lot of fun Superman movies I've watched that are
mhm,
animated, but do
mhm.
they carry the like what is the essence of Superman? No, not so much. Are they higher on my radar because I enjoy them? Yes, but it
Yeah, of
doesn't carry
course.
that.
But no, you're right. And it says like he is Superman to the very final moment.
Yes.
He does the ultimate thing of sacrificing himself, but he would not let someone else suffer for him to live.
So he wouldn't do
He'll,
Man of Steel.
no, no. Uh-uh. So no, like no, because the Man of Steel that was different, right? Now that's again that's Zack Snyder. He had his vision, but I understand that with Zack Snyder, he had a plan to have like 3 movies tell the story of Superman.
I mean, I just rewatched Man of Steel. I will be more defensive of him. My comment about that was more about Kevin Costner.
We'll review that too. Is it worth the watch?
I think so. If you want a standalone movie that kind of captures like the essence of Superman, I think it's worth the watch.
Yeah, yeah, I think so. And also because not just here in a sense we see the death of Superman. I mean, we've seen the death of Superman also with Doomsday, but in this one it's different. But you also see the rebirth, if you will, of Lex
Yeah,
because he took the serum. He became super as did Lois, but he as with a superior intellect, if you will, that he was able to see things and then he's understanding the bigger picture. As you mentioned, like his intellect or his arrogance blind him from so many things that were happening in front of him. Now he has the powers. And since he can see, hear things, or taste things in a higher level, it woke him up.
true. He
It's,
realized it a little bit too late, but yeah.
right. He says there's an importance of there being a Superman.
Hmm.
Hence, he made the DNA calculations. Yes, it is worth the watch. Will I own it? I do own it,
Same.
but I don't know if I do
I
I
will
regret.
I'll say this: it is harder to find on TV or for
Yes, it is.
streaming because
I thought it was on Max.
it was on Max for a fact. It was again streaming services. They do reserve the right to do this. It's a weird thing they allow, but they
But
are
I
allowed
understand that
to share the titles. So the only place it's on now is Apple TV or Prime for rent or own.
HBO Max is owned by Time Warner, and Time Warner owns DC.
Yeah,
So you would think they'll have there because Red Sun is not on there. As we mentioned, All Star Superman
they
is not
lost a
there.
lot of they're all over the
Yeah,
place. Um,
yeah.
Apple TV has a lot of them now. Granted, Max still has like the largest catalog, in my opinion. I could be wrong. Yeah, it's
And
wild.
I thought I had the digital copy of this, and I don't have the digital copy. I was like, damn, I thought I had that Red Sun. I was like, I remember watching on my streaming,
Yeah,
on my own streaming, watching it,
I
and
have
now
I have the
it's not
digital
on my.
copy of
They
All
took it off my
Star.
streaming. I was like, what the fuck?
I have the All Star
You
digital.
do,
It's on my Fandango.
fucker,
Because well, like a long
fucker.
time ago,
Mm.
like you busted my chops about this. I bought the DC bundle of the first 10
Oh
years of
yeah,
the
yeah, 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 yeah.
animated,
Right,
and
right,
that
right,
was happened to be in there. So like that,
right.
those DC animated bundles, whoo, they're not cheap. Well, they're
No.
cheaper than if you bought individually. But man, do they come with a lot of movies? It's like 20 something per bundle.
All right, guys, that is our DC-ness review of All Star Superman. Have you seen it? What was your favorite moment? Let us know in the comments below. Are you going to see the new Superman movie? I definitely am.
I think I'm gonna go to.
And don't forget to follow us on Instagram. Until next time, will be the next time. I'm Angel.
I'm a Don.
Love you, bro.
Love you too.
Look up in the sky. They said that line in there. The
It's a
circus tent.
bird.
No, but they said look up in this. The one guy in the circus says, "Look up in the sky." I was like, really?
Oh.